Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a CEO of Roommate Group. We are a group of 7 studios focusing on art, dev, and now starting this year QA and trailer production.
Is there an opportunity for you to build the game on your own, or is there a situation where you kind of have to have an outsourcing partner and you can't move without them?
That's a hard one. I think it is possible. I mean, theoretically, it is possible to have everything in-house. Like, don't outsource anything. It is possible. You can hire these people. I don't know, you can build a production pipeline in a way that it will work. But though it is theoretically possible, it doesn't make much sense practically. Because if you go to an external provider, to the service provider, you will get highly specialized people who work as a team, who can provide you with whatever you need, either expertise in some niche domain, or capacity, or a mix. I think the easiest example to think about it is probably quality assurance or localization, which we actually don't do, like as a roommate group. But that's the very easy example. I mean, probably you can do it yourself, but that doesn't make sense because you need a large amount of people in a very specific moment in time for quite a short time. You don't need them on a constant basis. So that's why those services were first to be outsourced to someone else. That's the overall outsourcing market is huge. It's like 13 billions. It always depends like which kind of services you combine and so on. So the numbers can differ, but it's a huge market. I cannot say what is in the highest demand because markets probably for art or QA will be bigger than for Codev. But that doesn't mean that the demand for Codev is still big and the supply is much lower. So overall, I think demand is there for any services. I mean, that's why you have certain billions. In terms of asks, probably the bigger, the more in-demand expertise, the more harder to find expertise you have, the bigger will be the volume of asks from the clients. I can tell that, for example, in art, definitely right now, like 3D photoreal stuff or highly complex stuff is something that clients are asking us for. Because not fewer number of companies can do that at a level of quality that a AAA production needs. It's a mix of finding a right talent, I mean, best of the best, and building internally right pipelines, right processes to make sure that you're consistently delivering a quality product. Same goes to our Codev services. In our Codev services, we also have proprietary technologies that we are using and that we are offering to our clients. In art, I don't feel like we have some proprietary tools but we do have, I think, one of the best talents that you can find on the market. And we have processes in place that we are not reliant on the belief that this is a good artist, so we know that he or she will produce a great asset. We have a process inside to make sure that the asset that will be delivered to the client will be at the quality bar. We can do both. but our preferred way is being a partner. I think that's why we are built as a group. So we can do, like technically, we have all the capabilities, and creatively we have all the capabilities to build a full cycle for the client. So our task is to provide as much value as possible, and the bigger chunk of work we can deliver, like ready for the client, the better for us and for the client. The bigger value we provide for them. So option 2, when we are doing something from the scratch, ideally at the pre-production stage, because we have highly creative people in our team, like Massive Black for the US, from the US, they are doing like enormous stuff, and up to the way that it's like fully integrated into the game. We do see it. It's not like we see a recession because it's not here, and I don't know, you can look at the market growth and consumer spending trends for gaming specifically. The market is still growing. Maybe it's not growing as fast as it was growing before, especially in COVID. It looks much better for PC and console games rather than for purely mobile, but market is still growing. And there is no economic recession, but we do feel that all the clients and all their investors this year were more cautious with their spending, more cautious in funding new game development. Like it's not necessarily concerning outsourcing, but even internally. So we do feel this cautiousness on the market. I believe we will see lots of this redistribution in the upcoming years. Some of the markets are becoming more expensive for outsourcers and for game developers, so they will be looking to enter new markets. At the same time, there are huge geopolitical risks that we all feel probably. US clients and US companies probably will be more cautious working with Chinese companies or companies with significant presence in China, or companies who still has, for whatever reason, some presence in Russia. So they will look for alternative markets. I believe that Latin America will be a new frontier. It's a huge talent pool in the same time zone with the US. And even right now, we see lots of companies opening in both developers and outsourcers in Latin America. We last year made an acquisition of Puga Studios from Brazil, and we see a great potential in this specific market. It's a good geography. I just think the competition there probably is much higher because India was a mecca for outsourcing and for games as well for quite some time. So maybe it's got additional attention due to risks associated with Chinese presence. But it's still a good market to be, and it's still a huge market and a huge talent pool. I'm totally with you. I mean, we are happy if salaries are growing globally. We are happy people can live better than they lived before. And that's partially why we are doing our business in the regions where we are doing this business, because that's boosting the growth in this in those communities. More people will be coming in, getting needed skills, and have better prospects in their life. So overall industry development is good for us as well, because our task is still to be competitive and still to be a value-added service for our clients. And if salaries are growing across the board, the same goes to our clients. So we all have this increase in the costs. And part of it goes to our sales rate, because like you cannot do a loss-making business in any case. But that's part of life, and we are fine with that. But of course, as a service provider, we are still looking for the markets where we can get a cost advantage. Otherwise, we will not be competitive. So, being being completely open. I mean, it's still a business. Zloty actually strengthened a lot, but
Damn.
but it's not only about exchange rate. Cost of living in Poland is generally lower than in the US or in the UK, especially in London. It's much lower, and thus the salaries are lower. So that's why, and the talent is there. Great companies, great education, and people with great experience, because great companies are like CD Projekt are already there. And that's why we also opened an office in Poland, because you can find a good team there and still be competitive in terms of your sales rate. We, as a service provider, contrary to any other industry actually, where people really won't have to work on the product and so on, we have an advantage. For you as a developer or as an artist, we can offer an opportunity to work on different projects. So you work with different technical problems, different design problems, different art styles, and that's something usually a a publisher or first-party developer cannot offer you, because you are assigned to this specific title. So you are doing trees for this title for the next X years until you switch to the other studio or to another employer. Definitely with a service provider, working for a service provider, you have a possibility to learn much faster and try yourself in with different problems. Like, we're very much focused on art in our discussion, but for us, Gamedev is a huge part of what we are doing, and this part is getting bigger and bigger. So, in this area, the logic is the same. You can work with different titles, and I think the sense of accomplishment that you mentioned at the beginning is also very important, because maybe you don't work directly for Diablo, but you can still be in the titles. Yeah. And it's and I know that our people, they are very much looking forward to that. It's like, I will be there, I can put it, yes, this is my work, this is what have I done. And then it doesn't matter whether you worked like for publish, like whoever in this ecosystem you worked for, you still was a part of Diablo. I cannot tell for each and every skill set how it will look like, but our producers work hard to estimate the workload needed, and when we do the estimation, we never assume that, and here people will work overtime, and here people will not go for a vacation, and that's why we will fit in. It's never an assumption, and I think in majority of cases people fit in. And of course, there is always something can happen, some unforeseen problem and so on, but the release is there, so you need to work overtime or something. These things are happening, but in majority of cases, it's producers who work to make sure that the commitment that was given to the client was included some of the unforeseen circumstances that might arise, schedules like holidays or people's vacations and so on, to plan the work accordingly. What can we provide is a highly skilled team who probably will, to build such a team from the scratch will take quite some time and some effort. I'm not saying that it's impossible, because probably everything is possible. But that will take time, effort, and additional costs to hire these people and for them to work as a team for some time, to establish all the internal processes and so on, so on, so on, and only then they can start bringing you value. In our case, it's already been done. You have people who have experience, you have everything that is needed, and in our Codev case, some additional proprietary tools that can start on your project. Like, I'm not saying immediately, then that depends on availability, but definitely much sooner than the team built from the scratch. And plus, we are lifting some of the risk from the client's shoulders, because they don't need to think about, okay, but if it doesn't work, should I terminate it? Because I actually need additional capacity or additional for this period of time. If we are talking about something like team extension, if we are talking or porting, like we can assign a team, and we will assign a team that did quite some ports, and that means that we will do it faster and more reliable than the internal teams that is doing it for the first time. And the internal teams then can be reassigned to something else that clients need, while ports are given to the service provider. I don't think that we are like reducing costs from their balance sheet, but we are reducing risk on their product. And I think for our clients it's largely more important. So we can deliver a bigger part at quality, and that would be more efficient and with a less risk that it will not work out compared to doing that internally. And sometimes internal clients even don't have this expertise that we have and that we can do for them. So it's more in terms of like a complementary skill set, or I think it's a complementary business models, because we can take a part which is still a part of your core business, but we can do it in a more quality and efficient way and faster than you can do it yourself.
I gotcha. So it's kind of like a synergy coming from these.
I think that's the best way to describe it. And in our case, we can do a bigger part with a seamless integration inside for the client. Like if we are doing, let's say, full cycle game development, we will have one producer on our side, core team on our side, and then our studios will work together if needed to provide everything, like including art, including quality assurance. And client doesn't need to manage that. He doesn't need to say, okay, so I have these guys who are doing QA, these guys who are doing art, and I need to control the quality in each of the steps. We will do that for the client and deliver a product according to what they like, working with them, developing it with them, and changing with them. We are doing research ourselves. We want to looking at what emerging tools, like what AI can do or cannot do, and potentially how it can be used by us or by our clients, or by us and our clients, to boost efficiency. Because AI is, as any other automation tools, it should boost efficiency. With efficiency, it should boost demand from the consumer side to have higher quality content, higher fidelity art, because now you sort of can provide it, you have technology, and as soon as your competitor, like new titles started to do that, you even being in indie studio, consumers will already expect certain quality of art. So this definitely will boost efficiency. It's not totally clear how exactly, at this specific moment in time, how it will be used, what can be substituted by AI, and what probably will not be substituted for a much longer period of time. But how can you use it and in your pipeline? Plus, there is a legal framework that is not solved yet, and probably there will be specifics in different markets and so on. So there is a huge way to go. But being one of the industry players, we do our research, testing different stuff, doing partnerships. I don't know whether you saw the news or not, with Zebra AI to make sure that we are the first adopters and maybe even trendsetters.
We're talking, by the way, with Zebra AI at this Gamescom as well.
Okay.
Yeah, we love them. Yeah. So you kind of started answering that, but my last question is like, you're doing a lot of those acquisitions. You're doing these technical partnerships and so on. Where is Roommate Group kind of like going into the next 5-10 years? Like, what are your aspirations? What are your goals? How do you see yourself like in the future?
I think the growth is definitely part of our DNA. Each and every leader that we have in the organization is committed to growth, and and historically we are growing like 50, 60, 70% per year. This year probably will be slower, but we will still have growth. So we plan to grow further. We entered new services end of last, but basically this year, with QA studio and trailer production studio. So we plan to keep growing, increasing our portfolio, seeing which services are value-add services for the clients, to make sure that we stay relevant and we actually solve the problems for them, rather being just a capacity extension. That's definitely not where we see ourselves as an industry player. And we are looking in maybe in creating our own prototypes and being a game developer.
Gotcha.
It's not yet set in stone, so I don't want to do false advertisement, but that's something we are looking at.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for finding the time. It was lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for enjoying another episode of the 80 Level Roundtable podcast. Check out upcoming episodes on the 80 Level website at 80.lv. Join our career site at 80.lv/RFP. And share our podcast with friends and on your social networks.